Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we're here to talk about something I think about a lot with movies, and that is movies that I wish that I could watch again for the very first time. I have my top 10 movies if I could just watch them again for the first time, get that experience for the first time ever again. I think I would start with these 10. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. All right. So movies that I wish that I could watch again. Like, don't you have those movies, right? Like, man, that was so damn good. Like, I just wish I could get that first time feeling again. Like, not know where it's going and just get to experience that all over again. Now, I find the second best way to do that is to watch it with someone else who's watching it for their first time. So introduce someone to your favorite movie. They haven't seen it, but you can kind of live vicariously through them and see their reactions and get it. So there's definitely that. But then there's other movies that I wonder if they would have the same punch. Like, if I saw them at a different place in time, at a different age, would they not hold the same weight? So we're going to take that out of it. We're going to take, like, you can't say, we're going to try to just make it even Steven here. We're going to try to just say, I want to watch these and experience this again. Doesn't matter if I'm 5 or 75, right? I want to experience these movies again. And starting at number 10, I had never seen a movie really done like this, and I am talking about Pulp Fiction. Like, to experience that over again, this almost anthology-like story, but told non-sequentially. Like, me at the age I was when this came out, like, I don't really remember. So this came out when I was like 15. I don't really remember seeing anything else quite like that, and especially not with that type of dialogue and just the way it was told. Man, just filmmaking to the max here. And sorry if I'm a little stuffy here, guys. Just filmmaking to the max. And this, to me, I mean, Reservoir Dogs was first. Reservoir Dogs came before this, but this is the movie that really, to me, launched Quentin Tarantino out there. Because, I mean, the cast, now, you had a great cast in the original, but this was just absolutely unique. And to get to experience that again for the first time would be absolutely awesome. So Pulp Fiction immediately popped to my mind, coming in at number 10. These are kind of ranked. They're kind of ranked. Now, number 9 is one, believe it or not, I don't have. I still need to pick up that 4K. I'm waiting on this to go on sale. I am talking about The Sixth Sense. This has got to be on your list, right? Now, not all these, it doesn't have to be twists and turns to make you want to see them again for the first time. But this one, if you could experience that again, where they don't know they're dead. I see dead people. To just, even if you were going down the track of figuring it out while you were watching it, just as good as that movie is, and then to see it, the twist at the end, I mean, just so impactful, and, kind of also put M. Night Shyamalan on the map, and he tried to keep outdoing it himself. But The Sixth Sense got to be on the list. I've really got to get that 4K. It's just very hard for me to spend $35 on a studio 4K with like a AI art slipcover. Like, I got to wait on that thing to go on sale. But The Sixth Sense comes in at number 9. Number 8, you may be surprised to see on this list out of this actor's filmography, but this, I think, is my favorite movie of his. And I was like 7, 8 years old. I saw this at the theater, and little Chase, who wanted to like work out in all those 80s action movies and those big, like, juiced up guys, brother, I am talking about Predator. And it's not just their ass kicking ability in this movie. the reveal of the Predator himself, it's like 1987. I'm like 8 years old seeing this at the theater, and that mask comes off, and he's like, "You're one ugly mother," it that creature design, which almost didn't happen. It was almost a creature that looked like a stupid duck monster. This movie, and I have the 4K, I have the Steelbook, I have all kinds of stuff. There is something so nostalgic and perfect to me about this art right here. If I could watch this movie over again, that handshake, Dylan, you son of a bitch, all that, the famous like arm wrestle handshake. Dude, this movie is an absolute action sci-fi horror classic. I mean, this could 100%, this might as well be Jason chasing them through the woods. I mean, it is this is my favorite Schwarzenegger movie. I really believe it is, as much as I love Terminator and Conan. It's so hard. I'm trying to talk myself out. Those three for sure, but I just love this movie. If I could watch it again for the first time, I remember seeing it in the theater and just, Arnold was like a god to me. And just seeing him, those guys kick ass, and Jesse Ventura and his MTV shirt. I've got that MTV shirt. I love this movie. If I could watch it again, experience all that again. John McTiernan, these guys did an amazing, amazing job. This Shane Black, brother, if I could do this movie again and watch it again for the first time, hell yes. Predator, definitely on the list at number 8. Number 7 is going to be one that you don't expect. And this is my favorite. This is one of my top 25 favorite movies of all time. All of these are. But this one is this is the one, if you've been around, I had my first little date. I was in like 4th grade when this came out, and my mom dropped me and my girlfriend, just my friend really, Brooke, off to see at the theater. You could do that back in the 80s. Maybe I was in 5th grade. But dropped us off to see National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, I love this movie. I have a whole Christmas tree that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I own this in every way possible, except for there's a Steelbook. I got to get that. My mom has given me a Hallmark Christmas Vacation ornament for like 20 or so years in a row. But as funny as this movie is, and it is so funny, I know it beat for beat, word for word. I can sit here and recite whole entire scenes. I could damn near recite the whole script from the beginning to the end. So it makes me laugh. It gives me a fondness. It makes me happy. It's comfort. But to get to experience all that funniness again for the first time, the belly laughs, all of that stuff. You serious, Clark? Hell yes, I'm serious. I would watch this again for the first time in a heartbeat if I could. You can't exchange the laughs the way they hit you the first time. Sometimes with comedies, maybe even a second time. But that first time, man, give it to me all over again, that experience. That experience is etched in my mind. I can picture the whole theater. I went in and sat down. We went like 4 rows down, went to the left. It was just a 2-row, like there was a row, the row was down there, the walkway was down the middle. There was seats on each side. It was like 8 seats wide on each side. And we went 4 rows down to the left, and I sat on the end because I always sit on the end in the aisle because I want my room and to be able to get out. I'm claustrophobic. And she sat right there, and there was an old couple in the theater. They were probably in their 70s. And that was it. It was just 4 of us in there, and we saw it. And I remember that. So to get that first time again and enjoy it and laugh, sign me up. Christmas Vacation. Number 6 on the list is one that you're going to be shocked. I don't have the 4K of this. I've got to get the 4K of this. I think it's $11 right now as I'm recording this on Amazon. I was shocked to find out I don't have the 4K of this. But this movie came out when I was like 14 as well. And to see the screen light up in... Listen, these are some of the best special effects to this day that I've ever seen. To this day. I'm talking about Jurassic Park. Dude, I was so into, I became a history teacher at one point. So I was so into dinosaurs as a kid. I feel like kids, especially like in the 70s and 80s, little boys big time got into dinosaurs. I don't know where that changed, but I was so into dinosaurs, and just to see that gate open, welcome to Jurassic Park. And you got to remember, special effects. Look, I don't know what happened to special effects, because the dinosaurs in this hold up today. And yet we get some like early 2000s, mid 2000s, like 2000 to 2010-ish, 12-ish CGI that is complete garbage. And this still holds up. There is argument to be made that the dinosaurs in this look better than the dinosaurs in the newest movies. So whatever they did, the Spielberg magic, and he had to be dragged into doing it. But man, to see that all over again for the very first time, man, that experience, you can't change it. Jurassic Park has to be on the list. At number 5 on the list is one that I don't have. It's probably not in my top 25 favorite movies of all time, but it is a damn good movie. And as soon as I say it, you're going to be like, oh yeah. I need to pick this up. I think there's an Arrow recent 4K release of this in the UK. I am talking about The Usual Suspects. Man, I don't want to spoil this movie if you haven't seen it, so I'm not going to tell you the twist. But when you're sitting there so engulfed in the story throughout the movie, and then the twist happens at the end, I mean, and I just let myself, I was hunting for the moment when something was going to happen. I was hunting the whole time because I'm an intelligent person. I'm a filmmaker, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I wasn't a filmmaker then. I was maybe 16 or whatever when it came out. But I was watching it with a trained eye still at that point. So I'm like waiting on the other shoe to drop. And it got me. It still got me. It didn't. I kind of sniffed part of it. But the way it went down, I mean, when the shit goes down, you better be ready, because The Usual Suspects, man, just a great movie. Now, I think it loses punch after you've seen it the first time. It does. There's another movie like that, Identity. They lose punch after the first time, but they're so damn good. They're so damn good. And to watch that over again for the first time, hell yeah, sign me up. The Usual Suspects comes in at number 5. Now, at number 4 on the list is one that is like peanut butter for the soul to me. I say this all the time. It's a comfort movie. It's got Spielberg fingerprints on it, Robert Zemeckis fingerprints on it. It screams 1980s. I love the 80s. I love the 50s. That's the two most iconic times in America, in my opinion. And so, of course, it's got to be Back to the Future. To see this again for the first time, I mean, just the experience of this movie holds up today. There's a reason Spielberg and them, they're like, yeah, this is not ever getting remade. Not as long as we're alive. And Spielberg, I believe, is actually trying to put it into his estate, that several of his movies that he's worked with and owns, like Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, there's several that he's trying to fix. Nothing can be done with them, even after he's gone. So, this movie is classic piece of cinema. It is, like I said, it's peanut butter for the soul. It just makes you feel good. To see that again, to see that DeLorean and back then that was cool as hell, man. Like, you didn't see anything like that. Those gull wings open, unless you had like an old, Mercedes or whatever, old Aston Martin maybe. It was just so different. I mean, they were kind of pieces of crap, but they were so iconic. And going back to the 50s, like I said, I believe the 50s and the 80s are the most iconic decades in American history as far as visually. You can look at something, a movie, a car, the way people are dressed, and say, oh, that's 50s or oh, that's 80s. They're pretty iconic. And what's scary now is he goes from, like, what is it, 30 years back? He goes from 85 to 55. You think about that now, if you go 30 years back, you're only going to 1995. That's kind of spooky. But, I think about that all the time. I don't want to think about the age. No, we're not going down that road. Back to the Future make me forget all about that. I would love to see it for the first time all over again. These are amazing 4Ks. Amazing reference quality. Comes in at number 4. At number 3, you got to have something a little spooky. I love horror. I love comedy. I love 80s comedy. I love 80s horror. I love this movie. I was a little kid. I saw this at the movie theater with my older brother and my mom and my dad. And I am talking about Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? The original Ghostbusters. I mean, when you talk about that song has stood the test of time. These movies have stood the test of time. They're still making these movies. These actors are still playing those iconic roles from 40 plus years ago at this point. Universal Studios just licensed Ghostbusters characters and everything to do with them for the next 30 plus years to use in their parks. They've got them in an 80s movie parade that they do. Ghostbusters is iconic. To see it again for the first time, to see that Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, all these characters, I love these guys so much. This movie has meant so much to me. It's one of my favorite all time. And to see it again for the first time, the magic of that, Ghostbusters, no question for me. It was on the list. Absolutely love this movie. That's a big old Twinkie, baby. Ghostbusters comes in at number 3. At number 2 on the list, if you follow me, this is going to be no surprise. This is the movie that gave the blueprint, that is widely recognized as giving the blueprint for pretty much all sports movies to follow it. Nothing had been done like this. This guy is a hero of mine. He is a talented guy, a talented writer, talented actor. He's a physical guy. I'm talking about Stallone and Rocky. If I could just see this movie again for the first time, I think I would appreciate it even more. It stuck with me as a kid because I'm training hard now. Da-da-da. And it meant different things to me at different points in my life. When I was a kid, all that, jazzed me up with the music. Then as a teenager and then in my early 20s, like getting into filmmaking, what he did to make this movie on his own, to go at it, the guerrilla style almost, the determination that it took, writing it itself, everything that he did, getting the money, having to sell his dog at one point. That was so inspiring to me. And then the way he takes care of himself, working out, that's something that I love with him and Arnold that I have a kinship with. Like all that kind, not in their kind of shape, but that's stuff that means things to me. This movie has meant so much to me at different points in my life. To see it over again for the first time, I feel like I could get inspired to even new heights and new levels. And every time I want to get inspired, I watch these movies. I really, really do. Nothing beats a good, late 70s or 80s training montage. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. But it inspires you. They were so inspiring. This is 70s. It's not really an action movie. It's a serious drama. But Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Van Damme and those guys, they went on, and all those training montages, they maybe seem silly if you came afterwards, but man, if you were growing up in the 80s and you're a teenager in the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, that stuff was inspiring. You wanted to be like that, man, and you wanted to be like these big tough guys that just took care of business and stuff, and it was inspiring, and we've lost a little bit of that. And just to see this again for the first time would be amazing. My favorite movie of all time. Best Picture winner. I believe it's 10 or 11 Academy Award nominations. Hard to beat Rocky. Before we get to number 1, I have a couple of honorable mentions. One of them is my first ever horror movie that I remember really seeing with my brother. I mentioned it a bunch of times, Nightmare on Elm Street. It did a number on me. I didn't sleep for a long time. Scared the ever-loving shit out of me, but also made me love horror. Love my dad and my brother watching this with me. Way, way, way too young when I watched it, but Nightmare on Elm Street. Another one is It's a Wonderful Life. If I could watch this again, I mean, every time at the end of this movie, I'm a big grown ass man. I still tear up because the meaning of life, the meaning of everything that we're really here for, the stuff that matters comes through. This movie's incredible. Jimmy Stewart's one of my favorite all time actors. If I could watch this again, I almost get the first time feeling on this every time though. But to see it again for the first time would be amazing. So It's a Wonderful Life. And then one I've talked about a lot here lately, one more honorable mention, The Thing. And even though some of you are like, wait, you said you really only gave it your first time watch, your first full try this year. That's true. I had seen it in bits and pieces multiple times in my life. But never all the way through from beginning to end until like a year ago. And I mean, now it's one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I wish I could watch it again for the first time with my dad, who is not with us anymore. He used to always want me to get me to sit down and watch it, and I just never would pay attention. I don't know what it was, because I loved Kurt Russell even when I was a kid. I don't know what it was about the movie. I just wouldn't sit with it the same way. And I have patience infinitely for movies. I don't know what it was that made me miss this, and I just wish I could watch it over again for the first time with him. So it has that little bit of special place. So I felt like I needed to mention it on this list. And that's my honorable mentions. I'm sure there's a lot of others, but the unquestionable, undeniable, for all the reasons, one of the most amazing movies ever made. One of the craziest reveals in the history of cinema that still goes on today, though it is mispronounced or it's missaid. Man, I am talking about none other. There is no question. Number one, Empire Strikes Back. This movie is why you can't show kids the new order of it. You have to make them watch it the way they originally came out. Because, no, he doesn't say, I am your father. He said, Luke, I'm your father. He says, no, I'm your father, right? So a lot of people get that wrong, but it doesn't matter. The gist is the same. But that twist, number one, that twist is amazing. It's part of cinematic history. But the other thing, there's a part that drives me nuts in what is it? The musical movie, Pitch Perfect, where she's like, how can you not see that coming? His name's Darth Vader, basically means dark father. You're looking at that from a bratty perspective of having all the information at your fingertips with the internet. Today, in the early 1980s, you didn't have that. So everybody wasn't running around speaking, like looking up German or Dutch or whatever else to see if that meant dark father, right? And they weren't even thinking about that going to the movies. That would have held no meaning. That part in that movie irks the crap out of me because it's just so entitled crap. But this movie, I think it's by far the best Star Wars movie of any of them. But then you throw in that reveal, and you got Han Solo is one of my favorite movie characters in history. So is Darth Vader. I just love this movie. To be able to experience that for the first time again. And man, if I could experience it again at my nanny and pawpaw's farm with my brother and my uncle and my cousin and my aunt and everybody around, because we're watching the movie on the big floor model TV and all that stuff. If I could experience it again like that, that would be amazing. But unquestionable number one is Empire Strikes Back. And that is my list. What did you think of it? What are some movies, if you could watch any movies for the first time again and experience that first time feeling, what would they be? Let me know 2 or 3 of them, your top 3, 5, 10, whatever in the comments. And let me know what you think about my list. Would any of mine make your list? I want to hear about it. I love talking movies with you all. And if this is your first time here, we do all kinds of stuff here. We do all kinds of cool lists, movie recommendation lists, rankings lists. We do 4K reviews, physical media news, unboxings, haul videos, hunt videos. We do it all. We love movies here. And I do it all from a big fan, as you can tell, and a filmmaker's perspective. If that is something that you're interested in hanging around and being a part of, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to join the channel and help the channel further, you can do that at my Patreon link below or right here on YouTube. Couple bucks a month. You can be part of the pop culture family and get your name in lights on every single video, behind the scenes videos, my filmmaking videos, short films, all kinds of stuff that I've done and stuff being added all the time. And it really helps out the channel. I will leave links to these movies on Amazon. I've got the Amazon links below. I have an Amazon storefront where I'll organize them into a list for you. If you use those links, anything you get while you're there helps out the channel too. A penny or two here and there, and I really do appreciate it. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Bye now.